presentation skills, or why does anybody need presentation skills?
Well, I think it's for a couple of reasons. If you've ever seen Seinfeld, and you've seen Jerry Seinfeld do his stand-up, he has one bit in one of his episodes where he says, people are more scared of public speaking than they are of dying. So if you are going to a funeral, it's better to be in the casket rather than giving the eulogy. I mean, obviously he's using hyperbole, but people do have that fear. And one of the things, and I know because I had that fear. I mean, I was terrified of public speaking, so I decided to go into broadcast journalism like one does. And I had to figure out how to overcome that. But I think one of the things that I learned along the way that other people can learn is that there are certain things that you can do, best practices, where until you get comfortable, you know that you have these certain techniques down and you can use them to fall back on until you find yourself in a place where you've had enough practice, you've done enough run-throughs, you've spoken, in front of enough audiences or in front of enough bosses or employees or whatever the case may be for you on camera, that you can start to relax into that role a little bit more. But I think one of the things that people miss when they are going to look for a public speaking coach or a media trainer is that they anticipate that there will be I do this, I do this, I do this, and then I do this, and I will be fabulous on stage or in front of a camera. And that may be true. You may be. But really, unless you're training to become a professional speaker, of which I have clients who are doing that, the most important thing is to connect with your audience. You're looking to make a genuine connection with your audience. You're looking for them to want to hear the next word that comes out of your mouth and be interested by what you say. So whether you are talking about a product, whether you are, presenting a pitch, whether you are talking on video about a thought leadership piece, or you're giving your employees a pep talk. The most important thing, and I'm saying and a lot, and I realize as I'm saying it, and I want to, jump off of the screen and start all over again, but that's just how it is. People make mistakes, and I think there's lots of people who are great speakers who are also quirky speakers, and they don't fall into the box of a perfect speaker, but it's if they're able to make that genuine connection, and if they're able to articulate themselves with a passion and an energy. And so one of the things I try and do with my clients is really suss out who they are. Right. Like, what kind of person are you? What speaking personality are you? And so how can we draw on those elements of you that people love and are attracted to, and highlight those as you're talking to your audience,
Is it more about the content or about the speaker?
Ideally it's about both, but I would have to say if you had to choose one over the other, I have somebody who wrote a speech for me and it is just god-awful, but I'm a great speaker, or I'm a terrible speaker, but I have a really well-written speech. Give me the bad speech with a good speaker any day.
Really?
Yes.
Why is that?
It's because it's the same reason somebody on TV can sell you, 200 crappy as seen on TV products. Is because they're good salesmen, because people are, drawn in by their enthusiasm and their passion. Okay. You can sell a mediocre product, and I'm not suggesting any of you have that or that you should aspire to this, but you can sell a mediocre product if you have a great sales pitch, and your great sales pitch often comes with that kind of charisma and personality and that kind of magnetic, dynamic persona that somebody who's really great in front of an audience or on a stage or in front of a camera has.
Okay, so then where does going on autopilot fit into your presentation skills?
So autopilot is never where you should want to be, right? But I also know that people go into public speaking, whether it's on a stage or in front of a camera, with a lot of emotional baggage, right? We all have our hang-ups about public speaking, and I'm intimately familiar with them. Right. Except for maybe a handful of people who I've come across in my 20-year career. Almost everybody has a hang-up about being vulnerable and talking in front of a group of people. Right. The mistakes you make, I'm going to sound stupid, they're going to judge me. And so we're going on autopilot, and I don't love to use that term, but where that fits in is until you have enough experience under your belt, you need to be able to fall back on skills and practices, really, techniques or strategies for delivery that will, even if you're nervous, allow you to deliver your content well. Is it going to jump off the stage and smack people in the faces and they're going to want to run up and hug you? Probably not, but you're going to get through it and people are going to know what you said, and now you started the foundation for your next speech and your next speech and your next speech. And truly with speaking, again, on camera or on stage, the learning is in the doing. There's just no getting around it. Give me a book about how to fly a plane and I'll read it from, front to back, but don't put me in the cockpit. I have to practice before I do that. Right. It's the same thing with public speaking, like it is with almost anything else.
I'm guilty of going on autopilot. There's presentations I've done where 20 minutes later I get off, I'm like, did I do okay? Did I faint? Did I die?
You didn't faint or die.
I didn't do any
your
of those
presentations.
Things.
They're good.
Right.
But
it's the emotional state of presenting. So maybe Seinfeld had some truth in his joke of being in the casket versus being in the pulpit.
Well, it's funny because Monica and I were talking about this before we started taping this series, and you were saying you saw a meme where, tell us the story of it again. He hurt himself or she hurt himself and said...
Yeah, so the meme was, I just heard myself speak on something, and I apologize to everybody that I ever spoke to in my entire life because she hated her voice so much that she just felt the need to apologize to the world for it.
Yeah, and I think, you know what? There's so much truth in that. It's only funny because it's true. Who has not been there? I mean, I was 20 years on TV and still find it difficult to watch myself on video. And, I catch myself every now and then in the monitor here and I'm like, oh my gosh, I have a double chin. But it's that I've grown comfortable with the feeling of loathing myself on camera and in person. No, I'm teasing, but you get comfortable with the feeling of being uncomfortable. And then that's my method anyway for pushing through.
And the other thing I want to mention, I remember in one of the seminars that you gave months ago where people that are super confident to give presentations probably shouldn't be.
Right.
And the people that need the help probably should be doing those presentations.
Yeah. And I think that, there's always an exception to every rule. But I think most of the time, I don't know any speakers, I'll put it this way. I don't know the most accomplished speaker who does not get a little case of the butterflies in the tummy or a little fluttering feeling, a little the nerves kicking in before they give a big speech. It's just how it is. It's because you care about what you're saying. If you didn't care about what you were saying or the people sitting in front of you, you wouldn't have that feeling. Right. Excuse me. But when you're overly confident is when you start to make the mistakes and people sense it. And arrogance is a turnoff.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yep. When you are dealing with your clients, do you ever help people that are already in the C-suite, already gave hundreds of presentations? Are you able to help them become even better presenters?
Yes. What I find, so there's a couple of ways that I find that it plays out with that level of client, with somebody who's already the CFO or the COO or CEO. And oftentimes what they are looking for is media training that will have to do with getting them on broadcast TV. So it's a little bit different. For example, I just signed a client who, two C-suite executives in one company, and they're new, and they are looking to have them be ready to go on, let's say, a CNBC or a Fox Business or a CNN and talk not just about their business and their products, but also position themselves as thought leaders in the area of tech, so that when there is something that needs analysis or there's a breaking story in that field or a breaking story, across a wider subject, but that could use somebody with a little bit of tech know-how and, ability to analyze something, they can call them in as a contributor. So I find generally that those types of clients are looking for a different sort of media training. Okay. They're looking for camera, rather, broadcast news almost. They're not necessarily looking to put out video on LinkedIn. However, there are companies where C-level executives realize that they do need brand stories and they do need some strategy about how to put together a YouTube channel. and my guy, he's really smart and he sits in the corner office, but he needs a little help. So maybe you could just come in and give him a primer on, it's usually not the C-level executive who's going to say, I'm really crappy on video. Can you help me? It's their handler.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. That's very informative.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Ask us questions for the next series of videos that we produce. We want to make sure that you have the content that you want, that you're seeking, because you could be our potential client, or we can just potentially help you.
Yeah, give you some value. Let us know what you want us to talk about, and we will do our very best to include it. In fact, we will.
Yes.
See you later.